What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So I did want to make a quick video today on a little trick I did end up finding on how to make some extra money. Now, I'm going to admit right now this is not going to be a new method. It's more the fact of me being like a new player and finding other ways to make money and stuff like that in the game. And I feel like other newer players can also benefit from that. So there's a few things I did want to talk about here in the Backstage shop and also the playlist because I feel like they're both going to play a role in this, but it's also mainly going to be the Backstage. So first things first here, I did want to back out and show the main thing, which is going to be the festival playlist. Now, a lot of people might look at this and go, okay, well, some of these cars are cool, right? I mean, they're not going to be all that, so we're going to have the Audi RS7. We're also then going to have something like the Audi RS6. And if you're probably going to be anything like me, though, you are probably going to be excited to drive these cars, or maybe you really want the RS6 or even the RS7. And I would say a lot of players are going to be looking for those cars, wanting to buy them and stuff. These are also going to be available in the Backstage shop, though. So you can actually buy both of these cars if you would like. Here's the RS6 here, and I believe the RS7 is going to be right over here, guys. So they're both going to be in the game. Now, the thing is, though, I also do want to mention my friend did end up messaging me during the autumn week here saying, yo, did you see the Audi RS6 is going to be available next week? It would probably be a good idea to go into the Backstage, buy that car, and then sell it. Funny part is that was going to be a very good idea. Now, the thing I do want to mention about this, though, guys, is depending on the car and the rarity of it, we all do know that once the car does end up showing up in a playlist, that, yeah, the price of the vehicle is going to go down. So we're looking at the RS6 Avant here in the menu, but if I head over to the auction house, though, and check out the RS6, you guys are going to notice something, that the car is very cheap. It is going to be around $2 million, so if you did end up using a Backstage, I would probably sell this thing for around $1 million, which I will talk about more of that here in a quick second, but I will show you footage of what I did with this vehicle before this thing was going to be available there. We all do know, again, that it did end up coming out during the week and all that stuff in the winter, so doing that, getting 20 points, you'll get the car. You don't have to go in the Backstage. So when my friend did end up messaging me about this, so I was like, okay, well, let me go in there, grab one of the cars with a Backstage and see what I can do with it. Funny part is, I was noticing this car specifically was selling for $8 million, so guess what I did end up doing? I basically put it for 6, basically lowballing the other ones there, because I didn't pay for the car anyway, so even if you sell it for less, you're still going to make money from it, right? I then put like a buyout or something around 6 million. I put the highest bid for around 5, and the car basically sold fairly quick because it's going to be 2 million cheaper than every other vehicle. I'm sure a lot of people are probably seeing where I'm going with this, and the other car you can also do that with is going to be the RS7. Now let me head over to that right now, guys. Going to be the 2021, and when making this video, you could see that this car is selling for around $8 million, which is going to change most likely when the car does end up becoming more available. I would say the price of this is going to go down, but again, though, it's going to be around $8 million. You are going to see people are bidding on this thing for $5 million right now. It's kind of hilarious because once again, you can head over to the festival playlist when this was out. I'm not sure if this video is going to go up or not when this is going to be active. Most likely will. But we're also going to head over here and see something like, oh, 160 points. Well, you do know a lot of players are probably going to have enough of those points, most likely by spring. They are going to be incredibly close to being able to get it, or at least in that week, they're probably going to have it, right? That's 160. If you are going to be getting at least 40 points a week, then by the end of spring, you are going to be able to get that car. I figured I'd mention that because this thing is the series award. It is going to be fairly far into there. But if you are looking to make some extra money, though, I once again did the same thing with this car that I did with the RS6. I headed into the Backstage shop. I'm like, okay, so let me head over and use one of my Backstage passes on it. It is going to be the RS7 Sportback here. I bought it, went in there, guys, again, put this car for around $6 million, as we did all see before. The car is going to be $8 million. Now, I would say a lot of people are like, yo, well, this ain't going to work when this car's not in there. That is true, but this will also work with other vehicles when they do show up in the playlist, okay? I will show this here in a second with the Yaris, for example, if that shows up in a playlist or something like that. But here's the thing, though. This car is going to sell for $8 million. I once again put it up for 6, and it sold within around 5 or so minutes because you guys can see people bidding on the ones for $5 million. I immediately put it for 6, something like the highest bid for 6 if you want, maybe 5. That car is most likely going to sell. Everybody's asking top dollar for it. But if you lowball the car a bit, again, you didn't pay for the vehicle anyway because you got it from the Backstage. So I'm like, all right, well, if I can make 5 million, because if you sell it for 6, they take 5, or they take 1, I'm sorry, you get 5, then you're still going to make money from the vehicle. I'm looking at that as a profit. So when I looked at this car, I'm like, yo, I'm going to do that. So let me do a quick example of this car, though. We do have the GR Yaris right now, guys. As you'll see, I do not own this vehicle. I'm planning to get it. I do have 4 passes, but I haven't done it yet because I did want to do something live here, most likely, and see if this would end up working with the Mission R. I bought this vehicle. I will show that in a second. But let's say something like the Yaris does end up showing up in maybe a playlist in the future. Can it? Possible. Will it? Honestly, I really don't think it will because it's in the Backstage, but it's possible because other vehicles are obviously showing up in there. But the GR Yaris is here. If we head back over to the auction house, let me go over to here. Let's head over to Toyota real quick. Gotta find the Yaris. Where's the Yaris? There's the Yaris, guys. Let's see what this thing is currently going for. I honestly don't even know. 10 million? This car's 10 million, bro? Okay, here's the crazy part. So I did want to show this as an example. This thing is on a highest bid of $9 million, okay? So let's say hypothetically this car somehow does end up showing up in a weird playlist in the future. The funniest part is you could literally use a Backstage pass on this car unless you already own it. You can then head into here and go, okay, well, let me make a quick 8 million. What I would do, guys, I would put this up for like 8 million, maybe even $7 million. That way it's going to sell, and you're still going to make over 6 million, maybe 5.5 or something like that. If you put it up for like 7, maybe even put it up for 8, you'll still make over $6 million on it. The funniest part is I'm not sure why other people are not lowballing it. Like, I normally never put cars at a max out of 10 million in this because I don't see a point. I'd rather put it for a little bit lower because I know it's going to sell. That is a really good way to look at this. Again, I do know the current vehicles like the RS6 might necessarily not be in there, or at least you probably can't do those with that now because obviously the cars are, available everywhere, so the prices will go down and stuff. But this could still work in the future with other vehicles. Now, one thing I wanted to check real quick. Let me see the Mission R. This is the car that I did end up buying. I think I bought this one out. Again, some of the cars are going to be a tad cheaper, so there's really not a reason to do it. Okay, so this thing is going to be $2 million, guys. You will see that there's not really that many bids on it. This one's 2. So if you did, for example, want to make an extra 1.5 million or something, you could do the same thing with this car. You can head in there and go, okay, let me use this. Let me get a Backstage because I did buy this car in cash, I think it was, or whatever, with money. So you can go in there, get a Backstage pass, put this thing up for like 1.5 or something. Even 2 million base, maybe a little bit below 2 million. I would probably say 1.5. I guarantee you'd sell the car so dang quick, and people are definitely going to buy it. The thing is, though, I do understand some of this is probably going to be fairly RNG based. We all do know sometimes these cars are probably not going to show up, or you might look at some of them and go, okay, let me sell this one. It's probably not going to sell for much, so it's not going to work for all of them. But if something like the Yaris does end up showing up in a future playlist, guys, I would definitely take advantage of that. The other thing you can also do on top of that, though, now I do understand this is probably going to be a bit insane, but looking at this, though, we're going to have the Kona and the Ford Focus 2022. This is another thing I did end up wanting to show. So let's say you own maybe the Ford Focus or maybe the Kona. What if you do vote for one of these because maybe you're missing the VW or maybe the BMW iX? The funny part is you can also make money from doing this as well. I did not see anybody mention this anywhere, but again, I would say a lot of veteran players are probably well aware of this. Let's say after the Backstage does end, you do have something like a Ford Focus, guys. Now, the only issue with this, though, is you can't technically predict it, so we obviously do not know if something like the Ford Focus or the Kona is going to win. All we could probably do at this point is most likely guess it, but the thing is, though, if I head over to Start Auction, let me go down to Ford here, let me go over to the Focus. Right here, guys, I can auction car. I'm not going to sell it because that would be a huge L, but you're going to see this car sells for $20 million. Now, here's the thing, though. We all do know, once again, this car is probably going to be in the Backstage. I would like to say it would win. That'd be funny if this doesn't age well or something like that and it didn't win, but who knows. Either way, though, that car might end up being in the Backstage. You might go, well, what if it loses its money or something like that? Here's what's kind of crazy, guys. Let me head back over here and go over to Porsche again. I'm going to go over to the 911 GT3, which somehow did end up winning. We all do know everybody loves this car. Let me find it first would be kind of useful. There's so many dang Porsches in here, which I'm not complaining about. Let's go over to any. As you guys will see right here, the car is now selling for $8 million. What I did was, before this did end up happening, I actually went in there and sold this car for around, put it up there because they were selling for 20 million before the car did end up dropping. So checking this out, they're all 8 to 10, and pretty much every single car in here was going to be 20 million. So what I did was, which as you guys can see, the buyout right now is 10 million. What I did end up doing though is I put the car for 20, put the bid for 14 million, or I put the bid for 11 million, and the car basically sold at around 14 million. Now again, you're going to have to be very quick on this because unfortunately, as you guys will see here, people are still buying these cars and stuff like that, but you are going to have to do this. Now let's say the Ford Focus or the Kona wins, you are going to want to jump in here fairly quick and most likely get rid of those. The reason for that though is if they are going to be in the Backstage, guys, there is going to be a small window where you could still make a ton of money on the vehicle. Again, I made like $13 million from my GT3 that I had. I was like, let me use a Backstage, I'll go in there and I'll get rid of the car that way, and boom, made around 13 million from it. Here's another example of the Kona, and if you already own this vehicle, which I did spend 20 million on this car, but again, it auctions for 20 million, which means when the Backstage thing does end up popping up, again, I'm going to guess right now and say the Ford Focus will win. I think it will. I'd be very surprised if the Kona does. Looking forward to seeing how this video ages. But either way, though, if you own either one of these vehicles, guys, you can easily go in there and sell both of these if you want to, or at least if you have the Backstage passes, you can. That way you can make even extra money. If something like the VW sells, or that car also sells for a decent amount, you can sell that car and the Kona. You can also, if let's say the Focus wins, you can sell the Focus. I feel like this could be a pretty decent money method. Again, I do know it's probably going to be RNG based, and I would say a lot of veteran players are going to be like, blocked. We already know this, bro, but I figured if you are a new player, I am a new player, I found this to be very useful. Also, there's another thing you can do. If you get some rare cars out of the wheel spins, like for example, I got a second Zesto Elemento, how, who knows, but it's going to be a Forza edition. I sold that thing. I again pretty much lowballed it for around 8 million, and the car sold in like 2.5 minutes. That way, if you get an extra car and it's worth money like that, why not put that thing up for sale? And it could be some extra money. I don't know, something I was noticing when I was playing this, and we all do know a lot of players are looking for money, and I feel like this is a decent method. One way I would say, guys, again, is you're going to have to be fairly quick. With the 911 GT3, it was selling for 20 million fairly early on, and then pretty much a few days later it wasn't 20 million anymore. So if you're going to do it, guys, because the car is rare, it's still sought after, once a lot more in rotation, it is obviously going to drop in price. Do let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below, and if you guys have any questions, also let me know. I gotta admit, I've made a lot of money doing this, probably around, might be like 30 to 40 plus million dollars already doing this. I made $10 million from both of the Audis. I made $8 million from the other car, which was the Zesto. I made 14 or $13 million from the 911. So I really do feel like this is going to be a great way to make extra money. And even if you spent $20 million on the Focus, let's say, go in there, use a Backstage thing on it, sell the car for even 11 or 12 million, you're still making a lot of money back from buying it. So I kind of figured that's still going to be a win-win either way.